What's going on YouTube? This is Darian Thomas here, and I just wanted to make a video. A little bit about me is I've been in the nightclub industry for about 6 years now. Anybody who knows Vegas, 6 years is, it seems like it's like 40 years. It's just a lot of turnover in this industry, but I've been here for about 6 years, working in the nightlife industry. And first, if you're watching this video, congratulations. Whether you have been to Vegas or you haven't, Vegas is definitely an amazing experience. But I want to kind of talk to you guys about bottle service. Potentially, I want to give you guys some tips. Some people watch this video probably actually already have done bottle service. Some people haven't done bottle service. So I want to kind of make this video to hopefully help educate people and maybe clear up some things. But I just want to talk, kind of touch on some things that you guys may know, some people may not know. But so let's get started. I think the first thing I really want to touch on is arriving early. Why this is important, because majority of the clubs, and kind of a side note, when I talk about this, I'm not specifically talking about one specific club. I'm kind of doing a general idea of all of the clubs. Every single club is going to be unique. Every single club is going to be different as far as their rules and different things like that, their pricing. So just understand, like, when I talk about this, I'm kind of, as a rule of thumb, I'm not talking about any specific clubs. I'm going to try to stay away from naming specific club names, but for the most part, we're talking about Las Vegas, Nevada clubs. Kind of a rule of thumb, the first thing I'm going to kind of talk about is arriving early. Why this is important. So some people, come up to me and say, hey, we're getting a table tonight so we can just arrive when we want, right? It's not necessarily the case. Now, let's just say there are those special instances where, you may be getting a $6,000, $7,000 table, or $6,000, $7,000 minimum. And with that minimum, sometimes they will hold a table for you, but for the most part, they're usually a return client. There's some sort of relationship there with the host or the promoter, whoever you're going through. But the most important thing is to arrive early. A lot of nightclubs, what they'll do is they'll seat as you arrive. Now, this is very important. So let's just say you're gonna do a one bottle minimum. One bottle minimum. When you arrive, they're going to seat you in the one bottle minimum locations. So it doesn't necessarily mean like just because you arrive, you're going to get a dance floor table. No. So each tier is going to be separate. So let's just say you get a one bottle minimum. They're going to probably seat you at the best one bottle minimum table that they have because you arrived early. Everybody, your dress code, and you kind of give you a reward for arriving early. The thing is though too is you still have to get your ID checked, no matter what. So sometimes there's that, okay, well, if we get a table, we don't have to wait in line. That's not necessarily the case either. When you do come, the table line is definitely a lot shorter than sometimes the guest line, definitely a general admission line. But with that being said, is no matter what, every single person still has to get their ID checked, and every single person has to go through some sort of, whether it's a metal detector, you have to go through the wand. A lot of clubs now in Las Vegas are doing that. But make sure to arrive early. Make sure, you do have to still go through that process, with that. Here's the nice thing. This is kind of a side note, a nice tip, but not everyone has to check in at the same time. Now, this is also important too. So let's just say you guys have 10 people, right? 10 people, and kind of what I was talking about, arriving early. Whether the girls are taking their time and they're not going to be able to get there until 11:30, the guys can get there at 10:30 or whatnot. What you can do, so let's just say you have a 2 bottle minimum. I'll kind of get into the specific bottle minimums and pricing at the end of this video. But what you can do is, let's just say you're at a 1K minimum, right? 1K minimum, you have 5 people who are ready. So if those 5 people are ready, you can go to the nightclub, you can check in. Now, the nice thing about the bottom minimum is, keep in mind, so I would say roughly every 3 to 6 people per bottle, so 1 bottle. So obviously if you get 2 bottles, you can bring up to 10 people. The nice thing is not all 10 of those people have to check in at the same time. So what you can do is have those 5 people check in, right? So you'll get that good table location, and with that table location, everybody else can join in on that table after. I'll get into the specifics on what you can do as far as, checking in on that table, but you are allowed that. That's also a nice thing. It's kind of a tip not a lot of people know about, not a lot of people utilize, but definitely take advantage of that, depending on if the club is re-entry or not. Some clubs do allow re-entry, some clubs don't, but definitely kind of ask whoever you book the table through about that. There's always going to be a dress code. Now, like I said, dress code may be a little bit more lenient if you are purchasing a table, but still, for the most part, you're not going to get in with shorts, right? I always still err on the side of caution. There's no reason, I wouldn't wear J's. I wouldn't wear construction boots. I wouldn't wear anything, athletic type of shoe. I would wear just, some sort of collared shirt, dressy shoes, and pants. Jeans are fine as long as there's not any rips or holes in them, but that's personally what I would wear myself. Also, another important thing, and it goes kind of without saying, but believe it or not, it happens all the time. Make sure you have a valid ID. You'd be surprised how many people show up without a valid ID. A valid ID, not an expired ID, a valid ID. That is very, very, very important. Most clubs will not allow you to come inside. It may work back in your hometown, but just understand these bouncers aren't seeing you on a regular basis like they are in your hometown. So make sure you get the ID situation taken care of before you get to Las Vegas. It'll just make the process a lot easier. You don't want to hold up the whole entire group because you couldn't get in because of an ID situation. Happens, quite a bit. So that's my first tip, is kind of arrive early. Kind of goes without saying. Second tip is make a reservation. Now, I'm going to kind of go a little bit more in depth with this. What do I mean by make a reservation is try to get a hold of somebody ahead of time. If you know that you want to go to a nightclub, whether it's I definitely recommend contacting a host, or recommend contacting a promoter, recommend contacting somebody who could set that up for you. A reservation versus a walk-up. A reservation is a lot better than a walk-up because you're going to get that reservation pricing. A walk-up, the price could change, at the door. Also, with that reservation, they know that you spoke to somebody ahead of time as well. So I definitely recommend making a reservation. Also, when you're making the reservation, make sure you always ask for the final price. What's the final price after, everything's included? Keep in mind, Las Vegas, I would say roughly about 30 to 34% tax gratuity on top of that bottle price. I'll get into specifics, on that. But I would say about 30 to 34%. Another thing that, people come up to me and kind of ask is, okay, well, if we book the table, can we see, where the table's going to be? I don't know any nightclub that guarantees a table location, once again, unless you're kind of a very, very high spender and, you want a specific table. But for the most part, if you're kind of doing a lower minimum, or this is, kind of your first time, doing it, very rarely they're going to give you a table location where specifically the table is. Here's the reason why. I get this all the time. Why don't they give us a table location? Let's just say you book a table, right? You book a table, okay, you're going to be at table, D45. D45, okay, it's one of our good tables. I'm going to book this table for you guys. I'm not going to ask any money down, but make sure you guys come early tonight. Okay, so the club opens at 10:30. You don't hear anything from you. Nothing happens. Whatever reason, you guys pass out. You guys wake up, get a text at 12:30. Hey, we're on our way. It's like, well, I didn't hear anything from you before. I didn't know you were still coming. We actually sold that table. Problems happen, you know what I mean? Well, you guaranteed us this, and that. So that's why a lot of times you'll hear a lot of people say we can't guarantee the table location. Just come as early as possible. And also, another thing too, like I kind of talked about too before, is adding people onto the table. This is something, I see this happening all the time. I still kind of scratch my head on this. So I talked about you can add people to the table, which is a nice thing. I still to this day do not understand why people physically come out of the club, right? Physically come out of the club. They will grab the people, whether they're in line or they're waiting outside, and they will try to bring them in the exit, right? The exit. So they'll come out the exit. They'll try to bring them in the exit and say, hey, no, he's joining my table, right? Understandable, he's joining your table or she's joining your table. But also at the same point in time, why would they not check in the same way that you checked in? Meaning they have to get their ID checked still. They have to get wanded. Why does that take precedent of you getting a table? Still to this day, I don't understand this, but it happens so often. So if somebody is getting a table, right? Let's just say you get your own table and your friend can't make it, or they're coming in later or whatnot, or you guys all can't walk in together. The most important thing to do, all that they need, this is all that they need. All that they need is the table number, okay, and the first and last name of who booked the reservation. That's it. They'll go up to the host. I'm joining this table. If you have any issues, you could possibly come outside that way. But for the most part, that is all that they need. The host will not ask for anything else. They're going to ask, whose table are you joining, and have the table number ready for you as well, right? They'll give them a slip. Sometimes they'll walk them straight up to the table. Sometimes they'll just let them inside to go to the table. But that's all that they need. I don't understand why people still to this day come out, try to grab the people. No, listen, I'm going to bring them back through the exit, even though I never came in this way, but it happens all the time. So, little tip there, like I said, just give them the table number, give them the name. That's all you need. Another thing, too, especially when you're booking tables. Now, if you booked a table before, if you came to Las Vegas before, let's talk about this thing called loyalty. A lot of people kind of know what it is, but I think it's something that's kind of going out the door, unfortunately. But loyalty. So let's just say you book a table through somebody, before, and you're coming back to Las Vegas. You want to go to that same club. I definitely recommend reaching out to the same person, right? Reach out to the same person, because that same person will remember the business, and they could possibly get you a deal, because you came back to them. You're going to have a lot more success trying to get a deal from somebody, who you already went through, versus, maybe somebody new, or maybe we're just doing a walk up and saying, oh, I got a table last year. I don't remember who I went through, but it's like, kind of do your due diligence before you get there. If you plan on going to this nightclub or whatnot before ahead of time, just, get that person, just reach out to them. Hey, are you still in the industry? I was wondering, if you could set me up here. And even if that person still doesn't work at that club, they could probably still set you up at that club as well, whether they put you through somebody else or, they have some sort of back channel that they can kind of take care of that. That's kind of a good way to get good deals, is kind of that loyalty factor. And I'm going to kind of talk about something that, a lot of people probably wondering, the big question is pricing. What are pricing on tables? Well, pricing on tables, it's the favorite answer everybody likes to hear. It depends. And here's why it depends. It depends on each and every nightclub. Every single nightclub is going to be different. Every single nightclub offers different things, right? Just like the same thing, a Drake concert, versus a, I don't know, maybe a lower end rapper concert. It's going to be different at different pricing. At the end of the day, just know this: you get what you pay for, right? So some of these big name artists who bring a lot of people, obviously you're not going to be paying the same amount, if you get maybe a local DJ that's going to be there that night. But I will give you some numbers. I would say, kind of a rule of thumb, I would say a $550 minimum for every 3 to 6 people is relatively what you should be looking at. Now keep in mind, this is very, very simple. This is very, very simple, but it can be very, very difficult for people to understand. It's a minimum spend, right? So normally what happens is when you book a reservation, they'll say, okay, well, you're at a $550 minimum spend. It doesn't necessarily mean when you come, there's going to be a bottle sitting there at the table. What's going to happen is when you come, $550 minimum, the waitress is going to come over, she's going to show you the bottle sheet. Now the bottle sheet is going to have a whole bunch of different bottles at a lot of different prices. Let's just say Ciroc, at a typical nightclub, you may be looking at $600, right, for the bottle. So obviously you hit your minimum spend with that. So you hit your minimum spend, you pretty much, now you're good for the night. Now here's the thing, there's no nightclub in Las Vegas that's going to stop you from spending your money. So meaning they're going to let you keep spending and spending and spending, until pretty much the night is over, until you guys, want to leave. But with that being said, is just keep in mind that $550 minimum is a spending credit, right? So when somebody says, okay, we're going to do a one bottle for a $550 minimum, what that means is you have a $550 pretty much table tab that you have to hit. And here's the menu, and here's where you can select everything, with that. Now, the mixers, usually you get cranberry juice, orange juice, I've seen sodas. All those mixers will be free. The Red Bull and the waters are not free. That's also something very, very important to understand. Red Bull and waters aren't free, but the mixers, the cranberry juices, will be complimentary. The buses will come in and refill them along with the ice too, to kind of keep everything cold and whatnot. But just keep in mind, each bottle is going to cost a different price. I think that's something really to understand. I couldn't tell you specific. Some clubs have different promotions for bottles. Whether it's some clubs work with Belvedere, some clubs don't have certain, some clubs don't have Tito's, some clubs don't have certain things. So definitely, if you can, maybe ask the host or whoever you're going through, for that bottle sheet for that specific club. They may be able to provide that for you. If not, they can kind of answer the questions for you. Like I said, just keep in mind that tax gratuity. I'm going to kind of just do a quick calculation. So let's just say you do a bottle of Grey Goose. I don't know. Let's do a bottle of Grey Goose for $600. So keep in mind that bottle of Grey Goose is $600. Now, like I say, I'm just going to put in 34% tax gratuity. I always like to kind of tell you high, go higher. So 600, tax gratuity. So you're doing that 600 times 34%, which comes out to 204. So out the door, you're looking at about 804 out the door. That includes everything, tip, tax, and everything like that with your bill. So, be cautious of that. Always ask for what's the final spend price, on that. Also, with Las Vegas being a celebration city, a lot of people are celebrating birthdays, bachelorette parties, and everything, in that nature. So a lot of times I get asked about, well, can we do a DJ shout out? Can the DJ, shout out, my best friend because he's getting married? They can. But I think one thing to understand in Las Vegas, nothing is free, right? So usually there's a package for that. If you're spending a certain minimum, they'll definitely do that for you. But it just won't just happen because you happen to be in here with 6 other guys. They're not going to shout your name out. What that package is, every club is different. It could range from about $2,000 minimums. I'm saying it's not $2,000 to say that. I'm just saying your minimum has to be at $2,000, and then they'll consider saying that to up, depending on what night. Some clubs they take $18,000 minimums on dance floor tables. So obviously, each club is going to be different. Also, another thing to kind of keep to consider is the nightclub. The nightclub doesn't serve I don't think any nightclub serves food at all. The pool parties do. So the nice thing about that is, a lot of times people are, well, I want to grab some breakfast before, I get to the pool. But we're getting cabana. Cabanas are pretty high minimum. Sometimes you're looking at $2,500 minimum cabanas. You're looking at $5K, $6K minimums. You can also order stuff from, usually have a full kitchen menu from the pool party. Nightclub, they don't have that. You can't really eat anything at the nightclub, but at the pool party they do. So definitely take advantage of that. That minimum goes towards your minimum. So that's also a nice thing. So just kind of want to touch on some things, about the bottle service. Sometimes there's a myth, about it. And just want to kind of give you some quick tips, that may help you guys out. The higher the minimum, the closer you will be to the DJ booth. This is also, another thing that I've kind of noticed in a lot of, and another thing that I like to talk to people about is, so let's just say if you are 10 guys, right? 10 guys, 2 bottles, you guys are going to breeze through those bottles. And you're like, we know we want to get 3 bottles, but we just want to start off with 2. For whatever reason, we know for a fact we're going to get 3. I always tell people this, get the 3 bottles. Here's the reason why you get the 3 bottles. The 3 bottles is going to put you at a better table location, right? Depending on what night, depending on what club you guys going to, it's no matter what's going to put you at a better table location. Now, what you can do is you can get the 2 bottles, and that last bottle if you want to get that bottle, okay, they may be able to bump you what that may, or they may be able to upgrade you to a different table because you're buying that 3rd bottle. But what all they're probably going to potentially do, depending on what time of the night, they're probably just going to put you at a 3-bottle minimum table anyway. So if you already knew you were going to get that table, you might as well just purchase that table because you already consciously in your head you're going to spend that money. Just get it up front so you're already at that table. Because if it's too busy, right, you're at a 2-bottle table and you just paid for 3 bottles because they can't bump you because it's that busy. So I definitely recommend that. Also, I kind of touched on it too, mixed groups, meaning mixed groups like guys and girls wise. Sometimes, what the girls are running late, I would talk to the promoter or the host, see if you can, add their name to the guest list. And here's the reason why. So a lot of times guys, they'll meet girls in line who are getting tables and meet girls that, during the day and get the tables. So a lot of times they don't care who you walk in with, or I'm sorry, They do care who you walk in with. They don't care who comes to your table at night. So let's just say you have 5 guys, right? 5 guys who are at a pool party, they meet 5 girls. So they want to walk in, with 5 girls. But 5 guys only want to do a 1 bottle minimum. Well, guess what? Because those 5 girls just joined that table, that just puts you at the 2 bottle minimum, right? So now instead of you spending that $550 minimum or $500 minimum, now you just went up to $1,000 minimum. Now, if you want to spend that money because you know that they're all going to be there the whole entire time, by all means, walk in with the 10 people. What you can do is you can add a name to the guest list. 9 times out of 10, girls do get in free on the guest list. Sometimes there's perks. Some clubs do offer open bars. Some clubs don't. But with that being said, if you do that, right, you just now, let's just say if you split up to 5 and 5, the guys can walk in. The girls can come in whatever time they want also. You're not at the mercy of waiting on the girls to show up and this, and that. So that's also, another thing to reconsider. Re-entry. Now, re-entry, depending on what club, some clubs do it, some clubs don't. This is very, very important. Now, when you do leave a club, literally they say you either have to pay to get back in, but we can't let you back in because there's no re-entry. It's more of a safety thing, more, people going to whatever and bringing stuff in. So that's why you have to understand, what club you're going to and understand the rules of the club. Whoever you're going through will know the rules of the club, but just keep in mind, once you leave, you're gone for the night sometimes. Some clubs do allow re-entry, which is nice. So, if you do, bottle service, it'd be kind of stupid to leave and come back. But for the most part, if you're just going through the guest list, you want to leave, check out somewhere else, to come back later. Just don't wash off that stamp or however you got in, pool party, whether it's a wristband or whatnot. But just ask if the club has re-entry or not. The nice thing about, bottle services comes with security guard. You saying somebody you have to boss around, but if somebody comes into your section, they weren't there, you don't know who they are, you can ask them. The security guard can ask them to leave or whatnot. Sometimes security guard can help bring people over to your table to help you kind of party with you as well, if you want to bring more people to your table. Here's another thing. This is a golden one. This is a really, really important tip. Is once the bottle is gone, you do not have to leave the club, but you won't be able to stay at your section 9 times out of 10. The only time usually that 1 out of 10 happens is if it's really, really late at night and the club is closing and there's maybe 20 minutes left and you guys finished all your bottles. No matter what, the busser, they're trained to come and clean up your section, right? Meaning they're going to clean up their section. You're going to put the menu on there. They're going to act like there was nobody even there before. And once that bottle is gone, the waiter's going to come up to you and ask you, what would you guys like to do? Would you guys like to get another bottle? No, we're just going to chill. Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to clean this table up and we're going to resell this table because somebody else wants to buy this table. That's usually what's going to happen. Sometimes in the lower minimums it doesn't happen, but for the most part, you get a busy club and a busy night, I guarantee it's going to happen. So yeah, that's it. Another kind of tip that I have, always, recommend, especially coming to Las Vegas, sometimes you don't know a lot of the people who are in the group, meaning bachelor parties. Sometimes friends do come, but when bachelor parties, usually a lot of people don't know each other. Bachelor and bachelorette parties. Always typically recommend pay cash, close out. If you guys decide to do something else, you can also keep purchasing bottles. But if somebody wants to put it on the credit card, you guys want to square away each other that way. But I think pay cash at that, get that minimum, close out. And then you could continue to order bottles. Somebody else wants to put a bottle on their credit card, they can, but the whole entire collective group isn't responsible for it. Let's just say somebody goes in, somebody gets sick, whatever, they leave early, then their $2,500 minimum that everybody, kind of talked about, that minimum goes up to $5,000. Now that person who got sick early, he's liable for that money. So I definitely recommend that. But yeah, here's the thing, honestly, Vegas is the number 1 party destination in the world. It's an amazing place. When you get bottle service, it's a unique experience that you honestly cannot get anywhere else. And the nice thing about Las Vegas is too, usually, you're partying with people who you may not be able to party with all the time. Now you may come with 1 or 2 friends, but not all the time. It's 4, 5, 6 of your friends. So definitely enjoy it. If you kind of listen to these tips, I think you guys can go very far with this, maybe able to save a little bit of money. But with that being said, any questions you have, I definitely would recommend contacting your host. if you want. I'm going to put my information on here, actually. Once again, my name is Darian Thomas. I've been doing this for about 6 years, so I definitely would love to help you out. Against my better judgment, I'm also going to put my cell phone number on here, but I would definitely love to kind of help you guys out. I've seen it all being out here for 6 years. People overspending and whatnot, but I definitely think that getting bottle service in Las Vegas is one of those things where you have to try it once. You have to try it once, and once you do it, I think it's one of those things you become addicted to when the music is going and you have your friends, your closest friends around you. When everybody's having a good time, it's something that money can't buy something like that. I think it's just an experience. You're paying for the memories, at that point. So once again, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, I apologize. This video went way too long, but hopefully there's some really good tips that helped you guys out. If you like, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. I try to kind of give some updates about everything that's going on. But thank you once again, Darian Thomas. I'll put my information in here. So if you guys have any questions about coming to Las Vegas, kind of tips, whether it's nightclub tips, getting bottle service tips, how to get into nightclubs, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my information on here. Darian Thomas, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.